So in this class, we're going to look at component composition and nesting. So component composition refers to the process of combining small, reusable components together to create large or more complex components. So throughout our lessons, we have been creating single components and then reading that component in our parent component to create our UI. Like component composition, what we achieve is that we are creating a complex component by using by combining smaller and reusable components together, right? So in component composition allows developers to build applications that are modular, scalable, and easy to maintain, right? Rather than having a component that rather than building a complex component, you can further break down a component into smaller components, and then combine these components to form a more complex component. Let's start component on the other hand refers to a component that are contained within other components, right? So the component in another component is referred to as a nested component. So in React, we can nest components together within one another. This helps in creating more complex user interface, right? So the components that are nested inside the component are called a child component. Import and export tools facilitate nesting of component. So the components that are nested inside a parent component are called the child component, while the bigger component is called the parent component, right? So you can achieve this using an import word and export keywords. So let's look at, for example, let's look at this application. In this particular application, this is our PMI component. Our PMI component also has two texts, you can see, and then a button component. Now, depending on how your design pattern, some people can choose to actually write this text inputs and submit button as a single component together with our PMI body, right? So, but if we're going to use the component composition, we are going to write our button as separate components. We're going to write our text input as separate component, and then bring this component together to form our PMI body component, right? So that will be a better approach because our button component stands as a separate component. Our text input component also stands as a separate component, and then those components can be reused so in other UIs or other pages, and then we're going to bring this component together to form our body component, right? So let's try to achieve this. Okay, so we are trying to build this particular UI using React, right? So we have creating the navbar component. We have also created the footer component. Now we want to create the body component, right? So let's come back to our body component. So I'm going to create a folder for our body component. I'll call it BMI body, right? BMI body. So this folder is going to house anything that has to do with our BMI body components, right? So let's create the BMI body component in the folder. So I'll call it BMI body.css, right? Yeah, so we're also going to have our BMI body body.css, right? Okay, so our BMI component, body component, as usual, a component is a function, and then the function, function, and then the function returns is CSS, right? So going to return domain, right? Okay, so default exports to export default PMI body, right? Okay, so I want to give this I'll give this an ID of what's main, right? And then let's import our style, our CSS I'll import to our CSS. And here we're importing .css, right? So I'm going to let's style our py. So this will be, so this an ID selector. I want to give this a background color. Okay, let's see. If you look at this body, I want to give it. I want to. Oh, the content of this PMI body is at the center, vertically and horizontally. So I want to achieve, first of all, is the main element to actually centralize this our form, right? So to do that, I'll go back here and I'll see display or flex, right? And then display flex, and then I'll justify content to center, and then align items to center, right? So whatever the background color of RGBA, yes, this is 40. That brings 40. Doing that 0.7. So if I go back here to our PMI, you can see it's not reflecting, right? That's because our main element has no dimensions, width and height dimensions. But I want to achieve this same layout. So what I will do is to go to our parent component, which is app.js. And here I'm going to import, first of all, our body plus BMI, right? String between our navbar, our footer header, we have BMI, right? BMI words body. Now, at this point, our BMI body has no dimension, has no width and height, so we're not going to see any changes in our UI. So to actually get this done, so I'm going to wrap this all these I will wrap it in I'm going to wrap in separative, and then let me give this an ID and call it container, right? So let's style this our parent div such that we achieve this particular layout, right? So what I'm going to do is come back here, and then in our app.js, yeah, let us remove the default style, yeah, and then so I'm going to import our CSS style, which is the /app into CSS, right? Okay, so in this container, which is ID, and it's an ID, so I'm going to use an ID selector, right? So we want to give this a display or grid display, and if we're giving this a grid display, we want the width to be 100%, right? We want the height to be 100 ph, height to be 100 ph, right? 100 ph, right? So remember that this is a display grid, right? So what proportion do we want the grid to be arranged? So we are saying grid template row goes, right? So our navbar wanted to be 0.5 far, then our body 5 far, lower our footer to 0.5 far, right? So if I turn back here, you can see this is what we have now. So what we actually succeeded in doing is that in our main parent component, which is modeled at the parent, the UI, we have nav bar. We have the nav bar. We have the body. We also have the footer. Now we want to give it this particular layout, right? So we use the grid display, and then we use the grid display with grid and template rows with the first rule, which is this as 0.5, why this is 5 and this is 0.5, right? So you can see that we have to achieve this layout. So what we are going to do in the next class is to see how to bring up this form in this in the center of in this our page in our BMI body, right? So we'll look at that in this class. So in this class, we're going to use component composition to actually build our form, right? So in this form, so this is our BMI body component, and this our BMI body component has a text field and then a button, right? So let us work on this, right? So these text separate components, these are separate components, and so they are nested in the parent component called BMI body, right? Okay, so let us use component composition to actually achieve this, right? So I'll go back to my code. So we have a text component, a folder, text input, right? We have a text component. So let's create its text input component. We have text input to CSS, right? And we also have text input dot CSS, right? Okay. So our text inputs, as usual, the component is just a JavaScript function, right? The same name, you have to be the same name with the file, right? Text input, and then okay, so the next spot default text what's input, right? Okay, so it's going to return. Go return. We will return a JSS, and this JSS is an input, right? Of type number, right? And then class name input item, right? Right? So that's it for now, right? Okay, so this is a child component. So using nested, and then we have a label. So we have a label. We have a label. We have a label. I think this enter height, right? Okay, so using our component composition. So our PMI body is the parent component. If I go back to this, you can see our PMI body is the parent component, and we want to put in this text, enter your height here. That's the right thing, enter your height. I want to put in that text here. So I'm going to import child component, which is our text input, right? And then we need to insert our text input here, right? Text input here. If I do this and go back, so we have our text input, right? So the right word is enter your height here, right? So enter your height here. Let's go back to our your height here, right? Okay. So as usual, we can pass in the props to make it dynamic. passing the props to make it dynamic. And then we call, so this becomes its element. Then we can destructure our props as usual. We call it level equals to what? Props, right? So that we have label where you are inserting a JavaScript. We want to insert a JavaScript in our markup. You have to use curly braces, right? So if I go to our payment button now, I want to pass in our label here, right? And then put it out text. So you should have the same result, right? Okay. So we can do the same for our second text now. This one is enter height here, right? So we're powered by the same component, right? All I need to do is to copy this, right? Replicate it. I pass in enter width here, right? Enter width here. Turn it this again. Enter width here. Right? Okay. So is it? So if you observe, you will see that our component is being stacked horizontally, while we have this stacked vertically. So how then do we achieve this? So to do that, let's go to our parent. This is our parent component, which is PMI body, and I'll wrap this code stuff in a div. It worked. So let's name this. Let's give this an ID of, let's say, on, right? So if I go to our CSS here, so it's an ID selector, so we can pass this. So I'm going to call this. I'm going to give the width of, let's say, 40%, right? Then display flex here, so that our display direction display flex, okay, flex direction. The direction will be column. So we're going to start vertically in column. So if I go back here, I'll see stacked properly, right? Okay. So for compare this and this, you can see that we have not actually gotten our text component exactly. So we need to go and style this particular component exactly as it is here, right? So what I'll go back here, go back to our text input component, which is this, and then we want to style this, right? Okay, so so what I'm going to do, we can give this a class name, right, of label. Then we can come here to CSS dot this and say so the font color. Can see the font, so the color equally is white, right? And the font width is bold, right? So if I go back, then it's fairly plain. Okay, we don't have our CSS imported here, so let's import it. But take network.css. Right, so let's go back. Okay, so I don't think this width is necessary. What yes, give it a font size. Font size, I'm going to give it 12 pixels. So I'm going to give it a font size of 12 pixels. Let's remove the width, right? Let's remove the width and see what it is like. Okay, so if you look at this WAF, and a matching between, we've changed this to right. So, okay, so what it means if I come back here, I will take this input item, right? And then dot this, right? So margin top, let's give it 10 pixels. Right? Margin button 10 pixels. Margin button 10 pixels. Let me give it 20 pixels, right? So let's see how it is. So 20 pixels is fine. Then I'll give it padding pixel, right? 10 pixel. Let's see it. 10 pixel is too much. So make it 5 pixel. Oh, let's reduce it a bit. 3 pixel. So this is fine. So this is fine. So we have succeeded in actually adding our text component. So you can see that we used the same component is powering the two text only or just to create a single text component, and then we use for both the height that's in this right. So so now let us bring in our button component, right, into this equation. So that we can look at it, right? So let's create our button component. So I'll come here and call it button, right? So in this our button component, we have button.css, right? Then we have here button.css, right? So these are button components. It's just a function. It's name as button. Then call return. Ship HSS button. I'm going to call it submit for now. Right. So let's put default button. Okay. So if I go to our parent component, which was this, and then import button. So right up right below test component, we can set button, right? So you can see it. So we will need to style our button just like we have here, right? So we need to style our button just like we have here. So first of all, as usual, in our button component, I want this to be props. So we're going to pass props. I'm going to call it, and then let's structure it to say action text, right? So then let me structure the props, right? Okay, so that we're passing as GSS, right? And then let's pass in our action text, right? So that if I go back to the parent component, which is this, then I can pass in. This will help our component to be completely dynamic and usable. So I want to pass in submit, right? So if we go back, we achieve the same result. Now, we need to actually achieve this, right? So how do I do this? I will need to go and style my bottom component. Let's go back to our bottom component. And then I will import CSS, right? Import my CSS first of all. So let me import the CSS button.css, right? So in our CSS file, first I will need to give this button. Let me give it an ID of, let's say, button. So I'm going to copy this, go to my CSS, and then let's tie this, right? So our button will have a pattern of the pixel, right? Okay, so it also have the width of, let's say, 50%. So if I go back here, you can see this here. So so what we can do now is to say border radius per pixel. Okay, so we can centralize this, right? So we can see so this first of all is a flex component, right? It's a flex component, and this flex component is aligned and is kind of aligned. So I'm going to say justify content, let's say center, right? Let's see. Okay. Something we can do is to go to our bottom component which we are returning, right? And then we can wrap this in a div, right? And wrap this in a div, right? And then call this ID, call it button container until, right? So I'm going to copy this, go to my CSS, and then let's look at this, right? So I'm still going to get the same thing, right? So what I'm going to do here is to make the display and flex, right? Right, so justify content sent, right? So all right, so now that brings us to the end. So how do we achieve this? So you can see that our PMI body is actually has two components nested in it. And so this pattern of trying to less components in a parent component to build a more complex component is what we call component composition, right? So you can use component composition to actually build complex components by integrating and by bringing smaller components to build this complex component, or breaking down this complex component into smaller reusable components, right?